Hello and welcome to our tutorial on how to use Angular material in Angular 17. Have you ever found yourself struggling to create a consistent, responsive and visually appealing user interface for your Angular applications? Well, you are not alone. Creating a UI that looks great and works well across all devices can be a daunting task, especially when you are trying to keep up with the latest design trends. I am Ayaz Zafar, a web developer with over 10 years of experience working with Angular. In my journey, I have tackled numerous UI challenges, finding powerful allies in the tools and libraries available to us. One of my favorites and focus of today's tutorial is Angular Material. Angular Material offers a comprehensive suite of UI components that adhere to material design principles, bringing sophistication and interactivity to our applications with minimal effort. It's not just about the looks. Angular Material components are designed to be accessible, responsive, and easy to use, aligning perfectly with the latest version of Angular 17. Before we dive into heart of Angular Material, let's make sure we have everything we need to follow along. You will need Node.js installed on your machine, the Angular CLI, and the basic understanding of Angular. If you are new here to Angular, I highly recommend checking out the official Angular Getting Started guide to get up to speed. With the prerequisites out of the way, let's kick things off by creating new Angular project. So for that, open your terminal and type the command ng new angular-material-demo. Press enter. It will ask you a few questions for configurations. So select based on your requirements and make sure to select the SAS or SCSS because Angular Material and many of its components are best utilized with SCSS for custom theming. Once the project is created, navigate into your project directory with this command cd angular-material-demo. Now to install Angular Material, we will use the Angular CLI add command, which not only install the necessary packages but also set up some initial configuration for us. So open your project in your editor. I already have created my project and it is opened in my VS Code. So it is very basic, simple project, nothing else, just hello world in the app component. So let me first start this project. So let's just run this command ng add angular/material. Press enter. During the installation, you will be prompted to choose pre-built theme. Angular Material offers several out-of-the-box themes that are fully compliant with the material design guidelines. You will also be asked if you want to set up global typography styles, animations. I recommend enabling both for full material experience. So here I'm going to type Y. Here I will just select the first one as it is and set up global Angular Material typography styles, type Y, and let it include and enable animations. Alright, as you can see that it has installed, updated the package.json, and it has updated the app.config file with the provide animation function. It was already there, so it added it twice, so I will just remove it. Then it has updated the angular.json, and then it has updated the index.html by adding some material icons, and then it has updated the styles.scss also updated. With Angular Material added to our project, we are all set to start building beautiful responsive UIs with Angular 17. Next, we will dive deeper into using Angular Material components, creating forms and customizing themes to make our application stand out. Now that we have our Angular Material set up, let's dive into some of the core components that make Angular Material so powerful. One of the beauties of Angular Material is its modular design, allowing us to import only the components we need, keeping our application lightweight. Let's start with something simple yet foundational, the slide toggle. The slide toggle is a material design component used for representing a binary choice such as an on-off switch. To use it, we first need to import the necessary module. So first of all, let me open the documentation to show you where it is right now. Angular material. Okay, so this is the one I'm talking about. If you go to the examples, you will see many more examples. You can change the colors, theme, etc. Okay, so they have given you the instruction how to use it. So let's go ahead. If you are using app module, you can just import it there like we do regularly. But as I am using standalone component, so I will simply go to the app component or go to the component where you want to use that component, and in the imports array, import the mat slide toggle module. Okay, and you can copy paste it or you can manually type it, it's up to you. So once that is done, we can now use the slide toggle in our app component. So let's add it in our app component. Open the app component.html, and here I will add mat slide toggle and save it. And within that I will add a text or label, toggle me, save it. And we need to run the server. For that, type the command ngs-o, that will open it in the browser automatically after starting the server. All right, now you can see that the toggle me button is enabled and working. And just like that, you have added a material design toggle to your application. So you can see that a toggle switch between its on and off states, complete with a smooth animation. This is just a glimpse of what Angular material can bring to your applications. With a wide range of components at your disposal, creating functional, attractive UIs has never been easier. Next, we will explore more complex components and how to implement them in your projects. Now that we have seen how easy it is to enhance our UI with basic Angular material components, let's dive into something a bit more interactive: forms and validation. Angular material provides a rich set of form controls such as mat input, mat select, and mat date picker, which not only look great but also easy to use and validate. So first, we need to import the modules for these controls in our application. So let's go back to our app component.ts file and add the mat input module, and then mat select module, and then mat date picker module. Okay, now let's add the imports for all of these modules. Okay, make sure that spellings and the case is correct. We should be small in the mat date picker. With our modules imported, we can start building our form. Let's switch to the app.component.html and create a simple form using mat input for text input, mat select for dropdowns, and mat date picker for date selection. So let's do that. I'm going to get rid of that, and now add a form tag. Within that we will have mat form field, and within that we will have mat label, and then we will have input and press enter. Okay, so in the mat label I will add something text, enter your name, and here in the mat form field I will set the appearance to fill, and in the input I will add a directive mat input, and then I will specify the placeholder name and I will make it required like that. Now let's add the mat select. So this is how you will add the mat select. Mat form field, within that you will have the mat label, and then you will have the mat select component, and then you will have the mat option components and the values. Okay, after that we need the mat date picker. Okay, so here we have the same mat form field again, mat label, and then we have the input with the directive, and here we have another directive, mat date picker is equal to picker, and we want to make it required. And then we have the mat date picker toggle with the mat suffix, and then we have the for. Here you have to pass the same that you have typed here. Okay, then we have the mat date picker. Now let's save it and quickly see how it looks in our browser. I can see that there are some errors in the console. Let's see what are these about. In the console, it is saying that mat date picker, no provider found for date adapter. You must import one of the following modules at your application root. So mat native date module, mat date FNS module. So we have to import one of these. Okay, I will try to use this one. For that, go to the app.component.ts and let's try to import this. So in order to use this specific module, we need to install it by running this command. So open the terminal and run this command. This will install it automatically. Type Y. Okay, now we need to import from this path. So let's add it here. Okay, now all of the errors are gone. Now let's reload it and you can see we have the name, select and the date picker. Let me put them in vertical direction. For that, here in the HTML, I will add the flex direction column and the gap would be 20 pixels. Actually, I need to move these styles below in the form tag. Okay, there are some few styles issues, like there is extra padding around these inputs, so let's fix them really quick. So I guess we will simply add the width to the form field. Okay, this make sure to specify the exactly same selector. Okay, now this is how it looks like, but we have to limit the width of the parent. So for that, I will add width of 300 pixels, margin auto. Okay, great. Now it is looking better. So you can see we can type the name, we can select the date. Now let's talk about validation. Angular Material works seamlessly with Angular's form validation by simply adding validators to our form controls in the template like required. Angular Material will automatically display the appropriate error messages and styles. Okay, now let me quickly import the reactive form module to enable the forms in it. So for that, use the reactive forms module to import in it, and then in the TS I will add the form group with the fields name, food and date of birth. Okay, so let's do that. Here first of all, I need to inject the form builder. Okay, then I will create a property form is equal to, and then I will pass name with empty by default, and then favorite food, and then finally the date of birth. Okay, now let's bind it with our form tag. So here on the form tag, I will add a square bracket form group and give it that form that we just created. Now let's link all of these inputs with that form group. So here I will add form control name and give it the exactly same name that you have specified in the property of the form group. So here I will specify name. Then here I will specify the another property favorite food, and similarly for the date of birth. On the input I will add date. Make sure to copy paste it to avoid any mistake. Alright, now you can see that as soon as I focus on this input and navigate away from it, then I will see an error message. That is happening because of the required attribute that I have added on this input. So if you remove it, then this will not validate it, and also the asterisk has been removed from the placeholder. If you add it back, you will see the asterisk has been appeared again here. Okay, so this is one way to add some basic validation. Otherwise, you can also add validation through the form group. Here you can add a second parameter, validators dot required. Make sure to import the validators from the Angular/forms, and in this way it will be required again. You can make other fields as required as well by adding the same validator. Okay, So you can see that it is decorating the styles, etc. automatically to show you that there is something wrong with this input field that we have to fix. Okay, now I will show you how to add simple validation check and error message for the mat input field, so you can show a customized message based on that. So here after the input there is a tag or component mat error. One second. So if you add this mat error, then you will see an error message here, name is required. Okay, so whenever error will appear, it will show this message in this way. It is already designed and styled by default. You don't need to add any CSS. You can add multiple error message as well like this, but you can control them based on condition as well. So for example, you can add an if condition like if, and in that you can check that form.get name if it has error required and if it is touched. Okay, and because we are getting the possible null error, so you have to add question mark here to get rid of that error. Now you can see, let me comment this out for now, and we are able to see the error message because these conditions are being passed or true. Now if you have multiple validation errors, if you want to add multiple validations, you have to pass an array of validators like that, and this is how you can specify the minimum length condition. And now you can add a condition and add a condition of minimum length 3. Okay, now this is how you will check. We are checking that we are getting the form name control, and we are checking if it has error minimum length, and we are also checking if it is touched or not. Okay, now you can check that there is one error so far. If you type one character, then we will see a different error that name must be at least 3 characters long, and if you, as soon as you type more than 2 characters, the error will be gone. So Angular materials form fields automatically display an underline in a different color where there is an error, providing immediate visual feedback to the user. Combining Angular's powerful form validation with Angular materials user-friendly components allows us to create forms that are not only functional but also intuitive and engaging. And that's a wrap on forms and validation with Angular material. By leveraging these components and Angular's validation framework, you can easily create forms that are beautiful, responsive, and user-friendly. Next, we will explore more advanced components and how to integrate them into your Angular applications. Now we will talk about the navigation components. Navigating through different sections of an application should be seamless and intuitive. That's where Angular materials navigation components like side nav and toolbar come into play. These components not only enhance the user experience but also add a polished look to your application. Let's start by setting up a responsive side nav toolbar. First, we need to ensure that mat side nav module and mat toolbar module are imported in our app.module.ts file or in your component, in your standalone component where you want to use it. This enables us to see the side nav and toolbar in our Angular application. So I'm using standalone component, so I will simply add it in the app component.ts. But before that, let me get rid of all of things that we have here in the app component. And here, let's get rid of this, and I will remove all of the modules that we imported earlier. Now I will import mat side nav module and mat toolbar module. Now let's import these statements. Okay, so this is the correct. All right, so we have imported the required modules. With our modules imported, let's move on to the app component.html to create layout with the toolbar at top and side nav for navigation. We will wrap our layout with the mat side nav container, which acts as structural container for our side nav and content. So here, let's add mat nav, mat side nav container, and within that I will add mat side nav, and I will add a template reference variable on it, side nav, and then mode would be side. There are several modes that you can try, so or you can press Ctrl space and it will show you the available options that you can try. I'm trying to use the side mode, and by default it should be opened, okay, and pass through to it, and within that I will add some menu items. Okay, so after that we need to add the mat side nav content area, so let's do that. So in the content tag you can add the router outlet so that you could load the sub or child pages into it. That would be added in the app.routes. Right now there are no routes, and before that router outlet we will add mat toolbar component, and color would be primary, and let's close this tag. Within that I will add my app, and after that toolbar I will add a div welcome to our application. Now let's quickly look at that in the browser. This is what we can see right now. This is the sidebar and this is the main component. Okay, so the mat side nav tag defines our sidebar, which we have set up to always be open for this example, with opened is equal to true, and the mode is equal to side property ensures that the side nav sits alongside the content. For a responsive design you might want to switch this to over on smaller screens. Inside our mat side nav content we have placed a mat toolbar at the top. This serves as our application's header. You can customize the toolbar further by adding buttons, titles, or even search fields. So let me quickly add a menu toggle button in the mat toolbar. So here I will add it button, and I will add mat icon button. Right now this is not available because we did not import the mat button module, so let's add it, mat button module, and let's import this module. And now within that button we need to add a mat icon, and we need to import the mat icon module as well. Let's add the import statement for the mat icon module as well, and their error is gone. Within that I will pass menu for the icon, and I will register the click event on that button. That will use the side nav template reference variable and call the toggle function on it. Okay, now let's test it. This is the icon. You can see if I click on that it will show and hide the side nav bar. Let me quickly style this. Okay, further let me add a fixed width to it. Okay, and let me add a background color to it. Also the height should be 100%. So let's see what is stopping it to be 100%. So we have the body and the app root. So you can simply add the height of 100 VH. So this will take the 100% of the view height, and now the issue has been solved, and you can see how it is working. And there you have it, a responsive side nav bar and toolbar setup using Angular material. This layout serves as a great starting point for many applications, providing a clean and modern UI for navigating between different sections. Remember that the key to a great user experience is not just the visual appeal but also the ease of navigation. I encourage you to experiment with Angular Materials navigation components, try different configurations, and see how they can enhance your application's design and user experiences. A well-designed layout is crucial for any application. Now we will talk about layout and grid system. A well-designed layout is crucial for any application. It ensures that your content is organized and accessible, regardless of the device it's viewed on. Angular Material in combination with Angular Flex Layout provides a powerful and flexible system for designing responsive layouts. Let's dive into how we can leverage these tools to create stunning and responsive designs. Angular Flex Layout is an API built for Angular developers that allows you to use CSS Flexbox and grid features in your templates. It's a separate library from Angular Material but works seamlessly with it, giving you a robust framework for building responsive layouts. So let's install it. So open your terminal in your project and type this command npm install at angular/flex-layout. Once it is installed, go to your app component.ts file and import the flex layout module. Okay, so with Angular Flex Layout integrated, you can use the Flex properties directly in your Angular templates. This simplifies creating responsive designs without the need to write custom CSS or media queries. Another powerful feature for layout design in Angular Material is the mat grid list component. It allows you to arrange content into grid-based layout, which is perfect for dashboard, image galleries, and any scenario where you need dynamic yet organized presentation of content. Let's add the mat grid list to our component. First, make sure you have imported the mat grid list module in your component or app module. Then you can use the mat grid list tag to define grid in your template. So let's do that. Here I will add the mat grid list module and let's import it like that. Okay, now here I will add mat grid list, and to that I will pass the calls is equal to 3. That will allow us to create 3 columns, and after that I will add row height is equal to 100 pixels. Then I will add the gutter size to 10 pixels, and within that I will add mat grid tile, and here you can add multiple tiles. Actually, let's use the for loop here. So here I will use tile of tiles and track index and pass this here, and within that I will pass a directive call span and pass the tile.calls, and here in the inner HTML I will pass the tile.text, and further I will pass another directive rows span tile.rows. Save it. Now we need to add a simple tiles array in our app.component.ts for demonstration purpose. So let's do that. Tiles is equal to array and then add an object. Okay, now let's add more tiles after it. Okay, I added few more. Now let's quickly see how it looks like here. Okay, you can see that there is something visible. Let me add some background colors to these tiles. So copy the mat grid tile, and here I will add background color to light gray. Okay, you can see the grids are visible. So calls basically defines the number of columns in the grid. Row height sets the height for the rows, and gutter size controls the spacing between this. By using the for loop, we can dynamically create tiles based on our data model, making the mat grid list extremely versatile for displaying the content. And there you have it, a responsive grid layout that adapts to your content and screen size, all with the minimal code. Angular Materials mat grid list combined with Angular Flex Layout gives you unparalleled control over your application's layout, ensuring a great user experience on any device. Next, we will talk about the theming and customization. One of the most powerful features of Angular Material is its theming system. It allows you to create a consistent look and feel across your application, aligning with your brand identity. Today, we are going to explore how to choose or customize themes in Angular Material and even create our own custom theme. Angular Material's theming system is built on Sass, a powerful CSS preprocessor. It provides a structured way to define your color schemes, typography, and other design aspects in a reusable manner. Out of the box, Angular Material offers several pre-built themes such as indigo pink, deep purple, amber, and more. These can be easily included in your project by implementing them into your main styles.scss file. So let's go to the styles.scss file, and on the top I will add import So open your Angular JSON file, and here you will find that we already have included this theme. You can remove it from here, and you can manually import it in your styles.scss file as well. So let me restart the server, and now you can put it on the top of the styles.scss file by using the import statement like that. Okay, so let's try a different theme here. Instead of this, I will try deep purple -amber. Save it, and you can see that the theme has been updated. Further, you can see the list of the available themes by going to the node modules and open the Angular folder, and there find the material folder, and then find the pre-built themes folder, and there you can find all of the available themes that are available to use. So let's say you want to use the purple green, so just click on that, copy the name and paste it here. Okay, you can see that the theme has been updated. So this one line of code is all you need to apply a consistent theme across your Angular material components. But what if you want to create a theme that is uniquely yours? Creating a custom theme in Angular material involves defining your own color palettes. Let's start by defining a primary, accent and warning palette using material design color guidelines. So in your styles.scss, on the top, add the use Angular material as matte, and after that I will add matte app primary, and then I will use matte.define palette, and then we will pass matte.indigo palette, pink palette with different shades, and then let me give it a different name, my app primary, and then my app accent, and then we will have my app warn with the red palette. So here we are using the define palette function from Angular material to create our palettes. The indigo palette and pink palette are predefined by Angular material, but you can also define your own colors. The second parameter in the accent palette defines the default lighter and darker hues. So next we will see how to construct a theme object with the defined palette. For that, create a variable my app theme and use matte.define light theme, and within that I passed the color and I gave it all colors, primary, accent and warn, and gave it my own variables. So with our theme object created, we can now apply it to our Angular material components. This is done by including Angular materials theme mixin in our style sheet. So for that, here type include matte all component dash themes and pass it to your theme. Now if you see that you can see that these styles are applied, but if you want to use this one in the primary one, just move it there and just see the change would be appeared. Okay, so this line tells Angular material to apply our custom theme across all material components used in our application, and just like that you have created and applied a custom theme. You can see the impact immediately. As you saw, our application now reflects the colors we defined, bringing a unique and consistent branding to our UI. Angular materials theming system is incredibly flexible, allowing you to adjust your theme for light or dark modes, customizing typography and much more. Theming in Angular material opens up a world of possibilities for customizing your application. Whether you are using a pre-built theme or creating your own, Angular material makes it straightforward to achieve a professional, consistent look and feel. Experiment with different palettes and themes to see what works best for your app. Next, we will talk about advanced components and data tables. As we dive deeper into Angular material, we encounter more complex components that can significantly enhance our applications. Today, we are focusing on two such components: the matte table module for displaying data with sorting and pagination, and dialogues and snack bars for interactive notifications. So let's start with the matte table. The matte table module provides a material design styled data table that can be used to display rows of data. It's built on foundation of the CDK data table and offers a similar interface for its data input and template. Let's see how to implement a basic data table with sorting and pagination. Ensure that mat table module, mat sort module, and mat paginator module are imported in your app module or in your standalone components. So now let's go to the app.component.ts file, and I'm going to get rid of all of these extra modules because we don't need them anymore, and this as well. So here I will add mat table module, then mat sort module, then we need mat paginator module, and now we have to import these modules. All right, first let's define our data source. So for demonstration we will use a simple array of elements, each representing a chemical element with a name, position, weight, and symbol. So in the app component I will create an interface periodic element, and I will type name, position, weight, and symbol, and then I will create a constant element data that will contain an array of periodic elements, and within that I will pass save multiple objects with the values. So in this way you can add multiple elements in it. Now let's set up our component to use this data with the mat table. We will define the displayed columns for columns we want to display and assign our data array to data source. So in the component I will add a component property displayed columns, and I have given it an array with the names of all of the columns that I want to add. Then after that I will add data source, and I have given it the variable that has the data. So in our template we define the table structure and specify which column to display. Each column is defined with an ng container with a mat column def directive. So go to the app.component.html. I have removed everything from here. Now I will start from table, and in the table tag I will add mat table attribute and pass it data source directive and give it the data source that we created earlier, and then pass class mat elevation -z8 to add some box shadow, I guess, and then add the tr tag, and in that tr I will add the mat header row, and then I will add mat header row def, and here I will add display columns, and after that I will add tr mat row and mat row def, and here in the value we are defining a variable let row, and columns are is equal to the displayed columns. Now before that tr tags I will define my columns. So I have added the position column. Okay, it will keep showing you errors until you add the columns for every field that you have specified here. So let's keep adding more and more until we are done. Okay, now you can see I have added all of the columns. So now there is no error and the table has started to display. Let me set the width and height of the table so that it could look good. So here I will add style width 500 pixels margin auto. Actually let me add the width to its parent. So here in the CSS I will add host display block width 400 pixels margin auto. Okay, let me add some margin top 100 pixels. All right, now you can see that the table is looking great and showing the data. You can add more and more data if you want to, just to see. So let's see, let's add another object like that, and you will see that all of the data has been loaded again. So this setup creates a table with our defined columns, binding it to our data source. For sorting and pagination, we would add the mat sort header to our column definitions and mat paginator at the bottom of our table, binding them to our data source in the component class. So let me add the mat sort on one of the columns. So let's say here I want to add on this th, I will add a directive mat sort header. So I got an error that is saying that mat sort header must be placed within a parent element with a mat sort directive. Okay, so in order to fix that, on the parent table we will add mat sort directive. With that, the error is gone, and when you hover on the name, a small arrow appears when you hover. If you click on that, it will sort it, but right now it is not sorting, it is just changing the state. So in order to reflect those changes for the sorting, I will add an event on the table, mat sort change, and I will call a function announce sort change and pass the event to it. Now we need to define this function in the TS file. So here, let's do that. I will be receiving the sort state, and I will add the type. The type is equal to sort, and then I will check if sort state dot direction is true. Then actually I have to inject a service. I have to inject live announcer is equal to inject and pass it the live announcer. Make sure to import it from the CDK. Okay, now here I will check. I will use this dot live announcer dot announce, and here I will pass sorted, and here I am adding the sort state direction dot ending, and in the else I will pass sorting removed. So basically this example uses English messages. If your application supports multiple languages, you would internationalize these strings. Furthermore, you can customize the message to add additional details about the values being sorted. So that's not it. We have to add one more thing. I have to access the view child with a mat sort and give it name sort, and the type would be mat sort, and this is optional. And now I will implement the after init, after view init, and let's implement this function. And within that I will check if sort is defined, then use this dot sort. Here I will check if sort is defined, then this dot data source dot sort is equal to this dot sort. Okay, further I have to make some changes here. Instead of passing it directly, I will use new mat table data source and then pass it the element data. Now we will not face any error when we will be assigning the sort to this. Okay, after saving it, if you click on the name, then you will see that sorting is working. Now it's time to add the paginator. In order to enable the pagination, we will go to the app.component.html, and at the end of the table, after the table, I will add mat paginator, and I will pass it some options. Okay, so we have passed the options of 5, 10, 20, and we have added show first last buttons. Okay, now if you see that we have the pagination added, we have first and last buttons as well. We have 0 of 0, and we have the items per page. So these numbers are coming from this array, but right now this is not functional. We have to configure it. So now go to the TS component, and we have to another view child and pass it the mat paginator component. Make sure to import the mat paginator component in this way and give it to this. And in ng after view init, we will check if paginator is available to use, then assign the this dot paginator to the this dot data source dot paginator. Okay, save it, and now you will see that the pagination has been enabled. It is showing the meaningful data, that it is showing 1 to 5, and there are total 6 records in it, and we have the next page and last page enabled. If you click on that, the pagination is working. Okay, so let's improve it. So here I have the option 1 by default, so it is showing only 1 item per page. You can change it further. Okay, so if you select 20, then as the data, the number of rows are less than 20, so it will not show any further page and the navigation buttons are disabled. Alright, moving on to the dialogues and snack bars. These components are used for interactive notifications and confirmations. To use a dialog, we inject mat dialog into our components constructor and open it with a custom component or a template. So let me show you a quick example. So before showing that, we need to import the mat dialog module in your app module or in your standalone component. So here I will add mat dialog module and we need to add the import statement for it. All right, now in the component I need to inject the mat dialog service. For that I will use the inject function and save it in the dialog like that. Okay, and now I will define a function open dialog, and within that I'm using this.dialog.open. You make sure to inject the mat dialog component instead of module. And now we need to create a component to use as a dialog. So let's do that. Here I will generate a component ng generate my dialog, press enter, and with that the dialog has been generated with all of its files. Now we need to import this component in our standalone components import array. Here I will add my dialog component. Okay, now you can use it here, my dialog component. Okay, now I need to create a button in the HTML of app component somewhere that will call the open dialog function, open dialog, and on click we will call the open dialog function. Okay, now let's test it. You can see that the dialog has been opened. Right now it does not look good at all. We have to add some styles to it, or we have to use the mat dialog components in it to make it look good. So if you go to their documentation, you find the dialog section, and here you can see that you can use this kind of design. So for that, this is a dialog overview example. I will just copy paste it and I will go through it. So go to the my dialog component.html, paste it, and now it is showing you the error. We have to import the mat dialog component module in this standalone component, and now we also need to have the mat input module and add the import statement for the mat input module. Also let me just get rid of this. I just want to keep it simple. Okay, now click on this and you will see this dialog. Right now the buttons are not looking good, so to improve that I will add the mat button module like that, and now if you click on that, everything is looking perfect. Okay, next go back to the app.component. When you open the dialog, you can save its response in a variable so that you could track its status. So for example, I can check that after the dialog is closed, I want to subscribe to it. So whenever it is closed, I will show the result in the log. So open the inspect element, click on the console, open the dialog, click on OK, and you can see dialog result is equal to undefined. We are getting undefined in the result because in the HTML on close we are passing nothing. So if you pass an object or something, whatever you want to prefer, it will pass it back when it is closed. So let me show you. If you click on OK, you can see that we have an object that is coming back. So right now you can see object because we are showing it. So we have to stringify it to display in the log. So for that, you can simply pass a second parameter and get rid of that. Okay, now let's click on that again, and now you can see dialog result is equal to name is equal to ABC. Okay, so this is how you can display the result that will come back from the dialog. Similarly, for a snack bar, we inject mat snack bar module and use it to display a brief message. So let me create a function after that, open snack bar, and I will receive a message string and action string, and I have to import the mat snack bar module in my imports array of my standalone component, and I need to add the import statement for it. Alright, now I need to inject this snack bar. So to inject it, I will use a variable name snack bar inject mat snack bar. Okay, make sure to import it from the angular / material / snack bar, and once that is done, we can use it in this function. I have called the open method from the snack bar that we just injected, and I have passed the message, action and duration. Now you can call this open snack bar when the dialog is closed. Okay, this dot. So let's try it. Now I'm going to click on the open dialog, closed it. As soon as you closed it, we got a snack bar at the bottom. Okay, both the data table and these interactive components are powerful tools in Angular material. They allow us to create rich, interactive and beautiful web applications. I encourage you to explore the full capabilities of these components and integrate them into your projects. Next, we will quickly talk about some performance optimizations. When developing Angular applications, performance is key to ensuring a smooth and responsive experience for your users. Today, we will explore some best practices for optimizing Angular material components for performance. These tips will help you to maintain fast load times and efficient rendering. First in our list is lazy loaded modules. Lazy loading is a design pattern that involves loading modules only when these are needed, rather than at the application startup. This can significantly reduce the initial load time of your application. So for example, let me quickly show you how you would do that in real world example. In your routes file, you would have a route something like path is equal to dashboard, and here in the second property would be load children, and in the load children you will import the dashboard module that or whatever module you will have, and then call the then method, because this will return a promise, and then you will from the then you will return the dashboard module from the module that it will give you. Okay, in this way you will do that. So by using the load children method in your code, in your routing configuration, you instruct Angular to only load the dashboard module when the user navigates to the dashboard route, rather than loading it upfront with the main bundle. Next, you should avoid complex expressions in templates. You need to avoid complex expressions or functions calls in your templates. These are evaluated frequently and can lead to performance bottlenecks. Instead, calculate these values in your component and bind them directly. So let me quickly show you the example that what I'm talking about. So go to the app component, and here let's suppose you have a div. So in that you will pass a call of complex calculation and pass it an item. You should avoid this approach, and instead of that, let me add a comment, avoid, and then prefer in component. So this is the preferred approach. You should use div, and here you should use calculated value, and now in your component you should use, for example, maybe in your constructor or somewhere, or maybe in your ng-on init or after view init, you will add this dot calculated value is equal to this dot complex calculation and give it the item. So this is just an example, just to give you an idea that you should calculate things in, try to calculate things in the TS file and just give the response to it in the HTML. Next, we will quickly talk about the on-push change detection strategy. Consider using on-push change detection strategy in your components. This strategy tells Angular to check for changes only when new references are passed in the component and or when you manually trigger change detection. It's a great way to improve performance in application with many dynamic components. For example, here on the TS file, you can add in the component decorator, you can pass change detection and use the on push like that. So these are just a few strategies to optimize the performance of Angular material components in your application by lazy loading modules, minimizing complex template expressions, and leveraging the on-push change detection strategy. You can significantly enhance your app's responsiveness and user experience. I encourage you to implement these tips in your projects and explore further optimizations. And that brings us to the end of our comprehensive journey through Angular material in Angular 17. We have covered a lot of ground today, from setting up your environment and exploring basic components like buttons and sliders to diving into more complex features like data tables, dialogues, and performance optimization techniques. We started by introducing Angular material and its benefit, followed by how to install and configure it in your Angular project. We then explored how to use basic and advanced components, including forms, navigation elements, and data tables. We also discussed creating custom themes and optimizing the performance of your Angular material applications. Now it's your turn to take what you have learned and start incorporating Angular material in your projects. The flexibility and efficiency it brings to the table can truly transform your application's design and user experience. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more tutorials like this one, and leave your feedback in the comments below. Your input helps us to create content that best suits your learning needs. For more detailed information and additional learning resources, I highly encourage you to visit the official Angular material documentation. There you will find the comprehensive guides and API references and examples to further your understanding and skills. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this tutorial helpful, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you won't miss out on our future tutorials. We have a lot more content on Angular, web development, and much more coming your way. Check out the links on the screen for more tutorials on Angular, web development, and other interesting topics. Whether you are a beginner or looking to advance your skills, you have got something for everyone. Until next time, happy coding.